Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. Now, before we start, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to checking this out. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, it helps a lot, and again, thank you. Have an incredible day or evening, depending where you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Welcome, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, we have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the superstar, the awesome Laura. Laura, how are you today?
I'm excellent. How are you today, Dan?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, what better way to start up an epic week than to be chatting with an epic guest as you know what I mean?
I do, yeah, for sure. It's a great way to start my day, that's for sure.
There you go. I love it. Now, for those who don't know who is the incredible, amazing, badass superstar Laura, please tell us who you are.
My name is Laura Burke. I live in Vancouver, Canada, BC. I've been acting since I was 4. I have my own YouTube channel. I'm a writer. I'm almost finished my first fictional book. I hope to make it a trilogy one day. And I'm just a lover of life.
There you go. That sounds badass. I love it.
I like the word badass being synonymous with me because like my dream is to be like the next Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Or like, did you ever see Alias with Jennifer Gardner?
I
Like a '90s TV show about a spy.
I think I did at some point.
Like my dream role.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. You should check it out. I think it's on like Amazon Prime.
Okay, so we're talking about a mix between an Alias and like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, something like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you ever watched a show on Netflix called like Van Helsing, but it was about this kind of so it was this female that he was kind of immune into this virus that the whole world was into kind of a vampire, you know. So she was kind
Was
of a
it
saint.
the movie or the TV show?
The TV show.
No, I watched all the movies with Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah,
Uh yeah, but I never saw the TV show.
yeah. I mean, I like one day I was just randomly browsing and I was like, "What is that?" And then I check it out, and yeah, it turned out to be good. But you know, like the problem with that show, at least to me, is that everything was amazing, but then at some point you start to discover that they don't know what else to do in order to push it on, and
Yeah.
then they tend to start to like do some do like randomly killing of characters or things like that, and I was like, okay, you lost me already. So
The writers are like, where do we go? What do we do from here?
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I hate when they do that. I hate when they have like a really cool show, and in order to expand it even more, the last 3 4 seasons they made a mess, and then you just want to forget about them. So
I feel like if you're gonna put forward a pilot, you have to be like, you have to keep the end in mind. Like this could go on for 11, 16 seasons, like Supernatural or whatever,
yeah,
like Modern Family. Like where are we gonna go? Like we need to have a good end point so that we can travel from A to B. Like we can do a good
totally,
character arc.
totally, yes. But I mean, I understand that that's the way. I mean, at the end, it's a business, so I kind of get it. But at the same time, I'm like, don't do that. But anyway, moving forward. Now, before we start with this episode, I do want to thank those who are watching this or listening to it. Thank you so much. If this is your first episode, make sure to leave a like. You're gonna like it. I'm super sure. And if it is your fifth one, sixth one, keep watching, keep sharing them, spread the word that we have an amazing, talented, badass person here. And jumping straight to the interview now. Tell me, where did your journey begin? Like, where does this passion for acting and writing started?
Honestly, it's one of the only things I've really known my whole life. Like it didn't start when I was like 16. It's the only thing in my life that's been a constant. Like my first play, I was 4,
Wow.
and I've just always I've never had like a second option. It wasn't like should I be a doctor? Should I be a lawyer? Should I do marketing? It was like I'm going to be an actor.
That's cool.
That's what I'm doing. And there was never any second guess. So like the first play I ever did was like a kids play in school. I was 4 years old. I was given the lead. I was like the couch potato. Like it was all about health and making sure to eat right. And I remember I like the whole school was watching, and had been practicing this catch. This other actor, my fellow student,
Yeah.
was supposed to throw me like an apple, and I was supposed to take a bite of it and be like, "That's actually really good. Let's go play outside." And he whipped the apple at my face and it hit me in the face and
Okay.
it was right in front of the whole school and I was like down on all fours, like looking for this apple with my eyes like swollen shut. And I could hear my teacher on the side be like, leave it, just leave the apple. And so I stood up and I was like, that apple was good. Let's go outside. And that was my first experience acting. And
Yeah.
you'd think that that would deter me from doing plays again, but it really didn't. I was just it was never a question. It was just always what like this is what I'm gonna do. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I mean, and I love the fact that you keep push forward, that you were like, yeah, I'll I'll keep doing it. And I also think that is one of the cool things about when you're a kid, that no matter what happened, it's easier for you to be like, meh, and move forward. You know what I mean?
I think that's an important lesson in life in general. I think every single person in the world is gonna come up with adversity and like
Yeah,
shit's gonna happen to them and bad things happen and people get sick and people lose family and friends and adversity is going to come no matter what position in life you're in. It's
totally.
really important to learn how to move forward because if you don't, it's life's going to be hard for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end, it's up to you whenever you want to decide when to move forward or not. So yeah, I can get it.
And if you don't, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an
Yeah,
easy
no.
life. That comes with a lot of hardships in itself and sadness.
Absolutely. And back when you move forward with your acting career, but tell me, what were some of the challenges, let's say, that you face up when you were making those first steps into a professional career now?
I think the challenges I had starting, I mean, I was so young, right? So when I was acting as a kid and as like a teenager, it's different than acting now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're the same types of challenges back then as they are now, like rejection. There's like there's no getting around rejection in this business. But as a teenager, it's like I was going to school. I couldn't quit school. Like my parents wouldn't let me quit school. I can't tell you how many times I was like, "Can we let's move to LA. Like move me to LA. Like let's go to LA." And they were like, "No, no, no."
Mm.
So all I could do was like be in drama class and
Mhm.
be in every single school play and try to do stuff outside. I did an internship with One Yellow Rabbit Theater and because I'm from Calgary, but Calgary is, not a huge, or at least at the time, it wasn't like a huge hub for filming. And so there was only so much I could do as a kid. And then I
Yeah.
was accepted to Vancouver Film School right out of high school. But like my parents wouldn't let me go and I couldn't afford it by myself because it's, at the time, Vancouver Film School, it's a 1 year program and it's full on all the time. You don't have time for a job. So and it's $25,000 at the time, and that was like 10 years ago, which is a lot of money. And so I couldn't. My dad helped me pay for school, but he was like, "I'm not helping you pay for film school." And so I went to I went to Mount Royal University, and I took a theater program. Um, but I couldn't like I really wanted to move out to Vancouver. That was always my goal because it's
Yeah.
like Hollywood North in Canada. So it was either Vancouver or Toronto, and I absolutely hate the cold. So I didn't want to end up living in Toronto because it's so cold. But ad, like the adversities that you face, you've had a lot of actors on, so I'm sure it's the same. The adversities you face as an act, like it's hard to get an agent for a
Yeah.
lot of people, and then when you do get an agent, it's hard to get a good agent. And it's hard to get someone who cares about you because I've had multiple agents in Vancouver and some of them are in like a really big prestigious agency, but you're a small fish in a big pond. And then, some of them are in a smaller boutique agency, but
Yeah.
they can't get you in the room. I remember years ago when they were hiring for Riverdale, and I was like, I am Veronica Lodge. Like I grew up reading Archie comics. I still have some. I'm staring at them right now. Like it was such a huge part of my life, Archie comics when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to audition for this role. I have to audition for this role. I would be such a good Veronica Lodge. And my agent couldn't get me in the room. And I was like, this is a problem. Like I need to be able to get in the rooms.
Yeah.
So I left that agent, and it was right before the pandemic hit. So that was really hard because I left the agent in like December of 2019, and then I, went to go redo my demo reel and redo my headshots, and then by the time I was like ready and raring to go, we were mid-pandemic and nobody
Mhm.
was taking on any new um, clients. I'm now with a boutique agency, and they are so fabulous. I have this amazing agent, and I love that he's like such an original character. Like he's like a wacky, lovely man, and God, he's got gumption and heart, and he's
Mm.
really kicking butt for me. So that's been awesome.
Yeah,
But I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, everyone who's gonna be an actor is gonna have a lot of the same type
Yeah.
of adversities, getting an agent, getting in the room. I'm lucky that I don't deal with too much anxiety. I think anxiety is a huge part of today's culture, and I'm feel very blessed that I don't deal with much. And when I do, it's usually right before I walk on stage, right before, and I kind of I think that anxiety and excitement kind of sit in the same place in the body. So if I'm feeling that, I'll just be like, "Oh, I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited." So I don't feel, too nervous about
Mhm.
that, but I know a lot of actors deal with anxiety in that sense, and I'm lucky that I do not.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's complicated, right? Whenever you are starting out and you find an agent, and it's complicated when you're starting out, you don't know if that agent is actually a good match
Yeah.
or if it is not a good one. You know what I mean? I mean, I have also dealt with some agents here and there whenever I want to reach an actor. Some of them will be really cool, or some of them, for example, it happened once yeah, so we were like about to make it happen, but then of course I needed to speak first with the agent and everything. I spoke with him, and he was charging me like some crazy amount of money, and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't add up. So I was like, okay, you know what, I don't have that, so I guess we weren't gonna be able to make it happen, right? Time passed, and then this actress texted me like, what the hell, like, like, what happened? I mean, I didn't hear from you. What like, what's going on? And then I explained her. So what happened was, and then I told her that her agent basically was charging me money. And then she was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm not kidding. I also kind of sent proofs, like like, here it is. Check it out." Time passed, and then yeah, like a couple of weeks after, she was like, "Okay, I'm good to go. Let's make it happen." We did an interview, and then later on, she told me that what happened was that she fired that guy because turns out that when she in kind of a dig in, you know, turns out that there were like a lot of auditions that she was rejected to because the agent was charging crazy amounts of money. So the production was like, "We're not gonna pay anymore, so we're done. We're gonna find somebody else. Thank you." And like so many roles she could have, she didn't ended up having them because of that guy. So I was like, okay,
Wow. It's interesting too because I think that media is such a fun part of our job,
yeah,
like unless you're Brad Pitt and someone asks you to do a podcast, you're not like, "Yes, but this is what I'm charging." Like
yeah, of
I
course.
consider it to be it's part of the job, and it's a fun part of the job, Like
Yeah.
I did not know you before. Now I know you. Now I have a new friend, and we can build each other up on social media and support each other, and like, you know, you're helping my career and I'm helping your career, and I think that's such an important part of this job, and I find it joyful to be able to sit here and have a conversation and
Yeah.
have that be a part of my job. Great. Great. Like I'm not I the last thing I want to do is be up at 8 o'clock in the morning and sit in an office all day. Like this is I'm on my couch. I have a coffee. My cat's right beside me, and I get to sit here and have a great conversation with you. Like for an agent to charge for that, it's mind
Yeah, it's
boggling.
crazy, right? I was like,
Mind
"Huh,
boggling.
okay." And yeah, I have also like discovered that whenever they're making like their first steps, it tends to be challenging because I mean, you will meet people that are actually really cool, but at the same time, you will meet people who will play cool, but
Yeah.
behind you, they're just either taking advantage or pretending like to gain some, yeah, like to gain some leverage or something that they can take from you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah. Now, moving on here a little bit, tell me, like, how you prepare a character. Now, of course, I understand that depends on the role, but like, what is your, yeah, like, let's say your usual approach when you basically dive into this process?
I like to figure out where they come from and how they view the world.
Okay.
So different people are going to view the world differently. The way I see something is going to be different the way that you see something. And what in their life is affecting the way that they view the world. Like how do they see people? I focus first on the relationship usually with the fellow characters.
Mm,
So like if I have a character and then I see who's in my circle, who's in the film, who am I talking to? Am I a mom? What type of mother am I? Am I a helicopter pilot mom? Am I, like a helicopter pilot, a helicopter mom? Am
mhm,
I what's my parenting style? Am I
yeah,
an attachment parent? Like am I, like a quote unquote bad parent? Am I abusive in any way? And why am I abusive? Did I get abused? I think it takes so many branches. Like there's and you'll find things out as you go, as you're I really like rehearsing and which is why I really like doing plays. Like I love I do mostly film and television, but I have a huge theater background and I think that there's kind of almost a misconception of like there's a theater actor and there's a film and television actor. I
mhm,
think I think the way that I'm a method actor. So the way that I approach a character or the way that I act on stage and in film and television is the same. The only
mm,
constraints are my environment. So, on film and television, I only have this is my screen, I can only go here. This is my mark. This is so that kind of you have to think of a little bit in the background. And in theater, you have a little bit more play. You have a little bit more area to play with. You can kind of depending on your director, be a
yeah,
little bit more open and improv a little. The thing I love about theater is that it's so like magical because it's right there. It's like, the audience is right there. Like you you almost can't be like cut and go again. So there's this like energy to it that's super magical. And I think that that's one thing I love about theater, but I approach it the exact same way. And I think one of the most important things that I do is figure out my relationship with the person that I'm talking to. So
mhm,
if you're my husband, what is our relationship like? You
okay,
know, how did we meet? What do I feel about you? What my subtext is? Because what I'm saying to you is not always what I actually mean.
mhm,
So being able to understand that what I'm saying to you, it's not always on the page, it's not written on the paper, being able to look at where we've come in our relationship. And I mean, sometimes the text and the material will give you so much. It's like you met when you were 16. He used to abuse you. You love him, but you want to leave. And sometimes you get none of that. You don't
mm,
know how you met. You don't know what your relationship is. So it gives you a little bit of play with that.
mhm,
So there's pros and cons to both because sometimes you're told this is the way your relationship is. This is how everything is. And then it's easy to kind of navigate how I'm going to interact with you based on that. And sometimes you get nothing, especially with auditions, with an audition, they give you 3 pages and you get no subtext, you get no context.
mhm,
So you kind of have to either play it a couple different ways in the audition or make a choice. So building a character for me comes from finding things in my life that I understand with that person. What do I understand? What in what ways am I like this person?
mm,
Do I know someone who is like this person? What are my relationships? And I use substitutions because I'm a method actor. So what that means is that I will substitute my own experiences into the scene. So I will close my eyes and I'll take myself back to when I had this conversation with this person and I'll feel the feelings I felt at the time, smell the room, imagine the person in front of me, smell the person, and try to bring the authentic,
Mm,
original feelings back from that and bring it here because I want nothing more than to be authentic. I want nothing more than to live truthfully in the moment with someone else when I'm acting. And so anything that I can do to generate authentic feelings in myself to be this person, to allow myself to portray this character, that's what I do. And I found it's made me more empathetic to
yeah,
everyone, because I've played a single mom and I've played a drug addict and I've played a cop and I've played a criminal. So then, you know, we don't see the whole story. We don't see all ends. So it's made me more empathetic to people because we don't know what the hell is going on in their head and in their life.
yeah, absolutely. And also like the chance, right, that you meant to, I mean, that you get to play so many like different type of characters. You get also kind of the opportunity to be on their shoes, of course, that in a safe environment. But at the end of the day, you kind of learn a little bit how someone might be on those shoes. So that's pretty cool.
It's the best. Like I've been a werewolf before. Like I'm never gonna get enough. That's
That's
probably why I
badass.
want, right? Like that's
Yeah.
probably why I wanted to be an actor so I can be a cop and a business CEO or a witch or a
Mhm.
you know zombie or I get an opportunity to be everything.
Yeah, everything. I mean, we're talking alien, superhero,
Yeah,
supervillain, demigod, god sometimes, things like that. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
that would be sweet. I would love to be a demigod. That would be so sweet. I mean, like Marvel's the goal. Like if you could if you could do anything, like if I could do Marvel, like I
Yeah,
would
absolutely.
I would love that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That would be cool. And you know what? I'm super sure that at some point it's gonna happen. Hear me on that.
Oh,
That's
you're
gonna
so
happen.
sweet, Daniel. We'll manifest it. We'll put it into the universe.
And also I'll
Guys,
make sure and also I'll make sure to tag Disney on this, like a lot. I'll put Disney,
yes,
Disney Plus, like all type of Disney's got the different franchises they have. So just to be sure.
Disney, I'm a subscriber. Come
Yeah.
at me. Come at me, Disney.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Love it.
I once interviewed someone who went into an audition for a Disney project, and he told me that on that process, it's like you are signing for the CIA or the FBI. That they keep it like way too secret, and it's kind of a little bit overwhelming when you go to an audition and they have like all this type of security measures, and you're like, what the hell did I sign for?
Oh man, I'll take it. And they film a lot here. They film a
Yeah,
lot of stuff here. They're filming Spiderwick Chronicles, and a buddy of mine is AD on a new Disney project here. So they film a lot here in Vancouver for
yeah,
Disney.
that's pretty cool. So who knows?
Very
Maybe
cool.
maybe at some point we will see the next demigod.
Oh, I hope so. I
Who
believe.
knows?
And the thing is with Marvel is people don't understand that there's literally like hundreds of characters,
Yeah.
hundreds of villains, hundreds of heroes, hundreds of different types of Marvel characters that a lot of people haven't even heard of if you weren't a fan of the comics.
Yeah.
Also X-Men. X-Men would be cool. The fact that X-Men and Marvel are joining now, oh, so
Yeah.
excited about that. I
Yeah.
loved X-Men growing up. Like Jubilee, Rogue. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed. I used to play it with my brother all the time when I was younger.
That's pretty cool. And also like lately that they announced that they're gonna make a Deadpool and Wolverine movie.
Yep, yep, yep.
That was super cool when I saw that.
Did you see the advertisement with Hugh Jackman and Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds?
Mhm.
Oh, it
Mhm.
was so funny. He's like, I don't know what to do with Deadpool. And Hugh Jackman just walks by. He's like, Hey Hugh, do you want to be in Deadpool? He's like, Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and when they are about to present how the story will be, suddenly "Wake Me Up Before You Go" appears, and that was brilliant. I love it. And also,
Yes,
like for example, on that character, Deadpool, the fact that Ryan Reynolds have put like a lot of effort and a lot of hard work to make it happen, and you can tell like whenever on the Deadpool 1 or 2, all the care that he has for this character, right? And I do appreciate. I mean, I do love whenever like an actor would put like the extra effort to make sure that his or her character it's on the spot.
totally. They also filmed Deadpool here. Ryan Reynolds is from Vancouver, so
That's cool.
yeah, super cool. Yeah.
I love it. Now, tell me, what has been some of the worst editions you ever had?
Interesting. Do you know what? I've been lucky. I haven't had that many awful auditions. I think the the only thing that comes to mind is when I feel like I didn't do what I wanted to do in the room.
Okay.
Like people are not, I haven't been treated overly awfully in an audition room, you know? You have to sometimes deal with people being like, "You're too tall, you're too old, you're too big, you're not skinny enough," like, that happens,
Mm,
and you have to learn to not take that on, like, don't
mhm,
to not be offended by that because whatever. I have unfortunately, this business is very much based on the way you look a lot of the time,
mhm.
and I signed up for that. So I'm not gonna turn around and complain about it, you know?
Yeah,
I used to be blonde, you know, I get more work as a brunette than I do as a blonde, and that's just the way that it goes, you know, because I'm tall. I'm 5'8" and, you know, I'm not a tiny weeny girl and you know, so that's something that I've come to terms with a long time ago.
yeah,
I think the bad auditions for me are just where I left the room feeling like I didn't do what I wanted to do. But I find that now that most of them are self tapes,
that's much better.
it's I can do what I want to do, right? Like
Mhm.
I can tape and retape, and I always find actually that my first couple of scenes are the ones I usually use. So I I haven't had that many bad experiences, and I'm grateful.
That's cool. I mean, no, that's badass plus two. Just saying. I love that. And I mean, I understand that that it's difficult, and also like, I mean, nobody likes being rejected, right? So I can understand that during the process of the whole auditions, you need to like you really need to kind of develop, let's say, like tough skin in order to kind of let it slide to be like, okay, it wasn't meant to be. Let's move for the next one, because otherwise if you continue on the same thing over and over, once you realize it's been already 4 or 5 hours, you haven't done anything with your day. It's a waste of day basically because you haven't like overcome that bad. I mean that rejection. Let's say, you know what I mean?
Also, I mean, it's a lot different the world social um culture is a lot different than it used to be. You
Mm,
know, like people you can't get away with being a dick to someone to their face anymore in
absolutely,
like you can't get away
absolutely.
with it anymore, like and so because I started really young I definitely saw it, you know, and you definitely hear about it and stuff, but it's really not as bad as it used to be.
Mm,
And even then, like I never had someone I've had more often than not, it's the people who check you into the room who are rude than the directors, than anything like that, you know? Once
yeah,
you're in the room, you know, if they need to say something to your face that's not great, it's it's not usually that cutting or harsh or so it's not like they're like, "You're too fat. Out. Move along." Like that has not happened to me. I'm sure that's happened in general, but
mm,
I think it's pretty rare and it's few and far between. And to touch on what we had spoke about earlier, I think that again, it's like you can't hold on to that. Like
totally.
you can't hold on to because that'll just ruin your day. It'll just not be great for you in general. So, and for me, it's like once you do an audition, you go, you know, dear Lord, please let me book this audition, and then you let it go. And then you just don't think about it. And then, you know, you get a call from your agent and they're like, oh, you have a callback. And you're like, oh, right. That, you know, Project Curtains. Great. Oh, I forgot about that. Awesome. And then you go to your callback and you do your best. And then you go, dear God, please let me get that. And then you let it go because you can't hold it. You can't be like, oh man, I did this audition. And I'm really waiting by the phone. Like, you can't
Yeah,
do that. It's
yeah,
just
you can.
unrealistic.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Now let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now I don't have I mean, it's zero experience. I mean, I only did one play back in high school. I was a tree, and that's it. Oh wait, two plays. But anyway, that doesn't count, of course. So, based on what you know, what do you think would be important for me to know before jumping into this career?
I think I give the same advice to everyone because people have asked me lots throughout the years. I think
Okay.
the first thing is go to community theater. Go do a play. Like there's a million great, you know, community theaters that are struggling. Go to a play, go audition for one, go see what that's like. See if you like it. See if, you know, you may be like, "Oh, I really want to be an actor," but then you get on stage and you're like, "Nope, this sucks. I don't want to do this," you
Mm,
know, and starting off costs money a little bit, and you need to get headshots, which is really important. So
Yeah.
I would say get into a play, go to community theater, go to a student film, an independent film, go audition for your local film school films, get headshots, make a resume, and just start applying to agencies. That's it. But film yourself doing, read plays, Neil LaBute, learn the greats. Like there's so many amazing playwrights. Start reading plays, start memorizing, find monologues. I have like 30 monologues on the top of my head that I can pull out at a moment's notice. Start memorizing monologues, figuring out how to, read Uta
Absolutely.
Hagen or Meisner or Stanislavski. Like there's so much, and especially in this day and age, YouTube, like there's so much information at your hands, at your fingertips, that just just action. Keep
Mm,
reading, keep trying, keep doing. Go act in a student film and go act in a play. That would be my number one
there you go.
advice.
I love it. I tell you what, if I ever become an actor, once I win an Oscar for Best Actor, I'm gonna mention you in my thank you speech. We will share the trophy.
Perfect.
Sounds
Thank
like a
you.
plan. I love it.
I've thought about that moment, oh my gosh, so many times. I already know what dress I'm gonna wear. I
Yeah.
already know what my
Okay.
dress is gonna look like. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it happens. I mean, what? Yeah, yeah. I can understand that. I love it. Now, let's say that one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, you name it, they call you and they tell you that they have this idea, which goes, they're gonna make a film in which all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're all gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. But the film needs a name, so how would you call it?
All the characters I've played.
All of them.
Oh my God. 50 Shades of Laura. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that, man, I don't know. La Bella Vita, The Beautiful Life.
Okay. I mean, that sounds interesting.
I think the thing is, like, gosh, I've played so many characters. Like, they don't, you know, the only common theme in
Mm,
anything is like humanity. People
okay.
are people are fallible. People are deep and flawed and joyful and sad, and you can't run a common theme
Yeah.
through everything other than humanity.
So we're talking. This sounds kind of like an HBO project.
I think anything that I think anything that's real and authentic is going to be gritty, which is HBO. You know,
There you go.
you know, Disney Disney is wonder and childlike fantasy and excitement and breaking ground and fantasy, and HBO is dark and gritty, and I think real life is dark and
Yeah.
gritty and tough
And
and
raw.
and raw, and I think Disney is what we escape to, you know.
True. Okay. I'll take it. Now, what about describing your whole career, but on a drink? How would you call this drink, and what would it have?
Oh my God, it would be a Long Island iced tea, because do you know Long Island iced teas
Hmm.
are like every liquor.
Yep.
Long Island iced teas are the five whites. It's like vodka, gin, rum, tequila, and vermouth. So, like, very few drinks have that much different liquor in them.
Hmm.
And then to make a Long Island iced tea, it's like Coke and lime juice. There's no iced tea in it. Like, it's so weird. So I think that it would be a Long Island iced tea because it's so random and it has everything brought into it that you feel like doesn't get together, but it works somehow.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's good. It's fresh. And then, but if you take too many, once you realize you can even stand up. So,
That's true with the Long Island iced tea. I always tell people, if you because I've worked in a restaurant for years, because as a actor, before you make it, you're a server too.
yeah,
And I always tell people, if they want something like cheap with a bang for your buck, Long Island iced tea, because it's always 2 ounces and is usually like on the cheaper side,
yeah,
but it'll get you messed up.
yeah, yeah. Back in college, I used to drink that a lot because it was cheap. So I get it.
Yeah, right? See?
Hmm.
There you go.
I mean, it was good and it was accomplishing. the goal, which was
Yep,
getting drunk. So you get it.
does its job, does its job.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days that basically we just want to quit. You know, I mean, it happens to all of us. So, how you usually, yeah, like silent those toxic thoughts, right? And put and be back again on this journey that you have been in for so many years now.
Allowing yourself to have bad days. I think sometimes, with the hustle culture going on, people
Mm,
people are like, I can't be sad, I can't be
yeah,
mad.
exactly.
And I think allowing yourself to be sad and have a bad day and cry and, have a bath and call your best friend and call your mom and share that load, get support, ask for help,
Yeah.
get mad. I think that, you know, it's viewed as unhinged or whatever to be
Mm.
angry. But if you do not let your anger out, and I don't mean like on your partner or on your kids or whatever, but I
Yeah, of
mean like
course.
in the privacy of your own room, getting mad and punching a pillow or crying, or, I do a relaxation exercise,
Mm,
and you, so I'll like go through a monologue and I'll allow myself to get that anger out. That's so important because people, I believe that if you hold on to stuff and bury it deep down, it's going to manifest itself in disease, in sickness.
yeah.
So I think it's really important in order to move past those bad days to allow yourself to have them,
Yeah.
because I've never wanted to give up, ever. I think that people are like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is hard. Life's hard.
Yeah.
Life's hard. Life's hard. It's going to be hard. And I think instead of allowing yourself to be a victim to that, is just to surrender to it and allow it to hit you and move through you and honor that, and
Mm,
then you can, it's like when you cry yourself out, when you're a kid and you're crying and you cry so hard that you like cry yourself out and you're like, I have no more tears left inside of me, and then you're just like, okay, I'm just going to get up off this floor and move on with my life because I
yeah.
can't cry anymore. It's like that. It's like you cry yourself out and then you just get up and you just slowly start doing other stuff and moving on. And I think that's really important in order to keep some semblance of sanity, because life is hard and it's going to continue to be hard. And
Absolutely.
for me though, like I have a really strong relationship with like spirit, you know.
Mm,
I'm not religious, but I have a strong relationship with my God, and that I'm never alone because I have the universe with me and it gives me life and it gives me power, and I can be like, help, help, I need help, please. And I'll just surrender. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'll just surrender to the universe or spirit. And because I can't handle everything myself, you need help.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting how, like, these days, like, whenever you want to express your emotions, it's, I mean, you need to, well, like, we have this idea that you need to be, full beast, go hard, like all of that. And whenever you want to express other emotions like sadness, when you want to cry or things like that, it's not like well seen sometimes, which I consider that stupid. And like for me, it happened on my college. I used to kind of like whenever I was angry or things like that, kind of like keep it like deep inside. And let me just tell you that at some point you just break, and it's horrible. Like when you put a lot of emotions like into a closet, and don't let them out. It's a I mean it's gonna happen that at some point that thing opens, and it's just horrible because we're talking about emotions that had been hidden for years, right? So it's a process for you to kind of start to understand of how to, yeah, like basically love yourself and be like, this is how I feel, this is who I am. I feel like this if this has happened. I do this when that happens, and that's who I am. Because I do think that sometimes what and like we get like this idea that we need to be somebody else, right? That yeah, that we need to play. That if you want to become successful, let's say, you need to be this way, not that way. And that's crazy because now you will have tons of generations who are suffering, because they get this crazy idea into their heads into a moment that they actually believe is true, which is nonsense basically. So
thing that's good about this business is that it really honors people being themselves,
Yeah.
like individuals, which is great. And I think as long as, yourself, you might, I think nothing endures but change. I
Totally.
work on myself all the time, and I think that it's really important to keep trying to become a better person and be better at your craft and stuff like that. And in my life, there's no room for old shit.
There
So
you go.
let's just deal with old shit and then put it in your rear view mirror.
There you go. I love it.
Yep.
That's badass plus G. I mean, you're basically reaching to the top of badassness here. Just saying. I love it. And my last question: what can we expect from you in the future? Hit it.
Um, I hope everything. I definitely want to publish this book that I am just finished writing. It's a fiction book. It's fantasy. So that's a huge project of mine. I hope you guys follow my YouTube channel. It's under Laura Burke with an asterisk. I love doing true crime stuff, makeup stuff, acting wise, anything that I can get that excites me, I will do. I I want to do more. I would love to get on a series. Like I would love to have my own, like we were talking about Alias, we were talking
Hmm.
about Buffy. Like that would be ideal for me to do like 10 seasons where I get to play, the same character and flesh it out because, I was on set last week and you're only on set for, a week doing a character, and so you only get to flesh out the character this much.
Hmm.
You only get to learn this much of it, which is another reason why I like theater. I've done runs of theater for months. You're in a character, you're in a world for months, and it grows and gets better and deeper, and
Yeah.
your connection with characters get better. And that's so special. Like that's part of what I really love about this. And so I would love to be able to do some sort of series where I can do my own stunts. I'm like super. I love that you use the term badass for me because like yeah, like I'm let's go like action, drama, a little bit of comedy. Like I would really love to be in that kind of a series so that I
Yeah.
could flesh out a character and create like a wonderful, beautiful world. Fantasy would be cool too. Like I really love fantasy. I think that like all that Marvel, Disney stuff, like spies, like you said the word demigod, that really like hit me. Like I really love that kind of stuff because we don't have a lot of that magic in this world. So to be able to play with that magic, on set in would just be so special to me. So keep an eye out. Anything that I can dip my toes into, I'm there. Because
There you
I'm
go.
in it for the long haul and I'm in it for the experience.
Wow. I mean, at the end, what can I say, Laura? I mean, your career is epic. I love what you do, and also the fact that you do it because you like it, but also it is your own style. You know what I mean? That you
Mhm.
work on your own, you make it happen. I mean, you are showing besides bringing us epic stories, epic content. You're also showing us that dreams can come true, and that is amazing, especially during this whole crazy times lately. You know that a lot of people might get discouraged. Whether they want to start either acting, music, things like that. But the fact that you are making it happen, you're showing results, and you're also moving forward to new stuff. I mean, that's incredible, and I'm super
But
sure.
look at you. You did the same thing. Like, you
Thank you,
know, you created this for you. You're doing what you want to do. I think that's to be applauded as well, Daniel.
thank
Like it's
you,
this is a two-way street. I think it's important to also recognize like, you know, when I heard from you, I looked into you and I was like, wow, like this guy's got a following. Like that's what you created that.
thank
So,
you. I appreciate
you
that.
need to be recognized for that too because you're asking us all about it, but you did the exact same thing and you were successful. So good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. I mean, and like whenever someone will ask me, because it happens every now and then. Whenever someone asks me that they want to kind of create like their own stuff, like their own
Yeah.
podcast, for example, or show or things like that, I would just say to them, just do it. I mean, this platform existed due to an existential crisis, as we spoke before in a phone call a couple of days ago. That was basically it, And I got like the idea of making it happen. I was like, let's do it. What else can I lose now? Why not trying
And
it
it
and see what
worked.
happens? Yeah, I mean, it's working, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's been good.
Do you
It's been
feel
amazing.
fulfilled?
Not yet. I'm
What's
working
next
on.
for you? What are you expanding into?
Well, then well, so 2 steps. The first one is I'll be moving to another country with a platform. I want to expand, do more stuff. I mean, besides the interviews, that sure they're gonna stay forever. Do more stuff. For example, with some of the people that I interviewed before, with some of them I have like good connection and communication as well. So I want to create some stuff with them. You know, like more activities, go to film
Yeah,
festivals, go to premieres, like things like that. I mean, of every now and then they will ask me that if I want to become an actor, and I would say no. I mean, I love it, but I love like the whole craft to it, but it's not something
there's a
that
million jobs around it too, like,
exactly.
mhm,
And like it doesn't call me. You know, I'm the type of
yeah,
person that is if something doesn't really call me, I'm not gonna be. I mean, I'm not gonna do it. And if I
answer
do
the
it,
phone.
it's not gonna look original. You know, so that's like the first step, and the second step will be later on once the whole platform is settled now and it's making like an effect and like things like that. At some point I want to create like a I mean I don't know like the exact word to it, but kind of a like in a school academy group support center, you know, that
Yeah,
basically new either new actors, new musicians, new models, photographers, you know, people like in the whole arts, you know, they can come to the center and actually be guided properly, you know, like because I
yeah,
have
because we
discovered,
don't have a lot of you're kind of on your own at the beginning, it's tough, so
and
that's a
that's the
great
thing.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because with this whole platform I have discovered sometimes a lot of, yeah, like every now and then they will tell me like a very kind of creepy dark story and I'm like shit, you know, and like things like that got me to a point in which I was thinking about like why not at some point create that for people, you know, create an actual center in which they can go and actually be guided by honest people, you know, and actually be like telling them where to go, where not to go, what kind of people you should be aware of, or you know, like the kind, like you know, like all of that, so they can follow and they can pursue their career. Because I have met also with this platform with people that I've interviewed before that suddenly they stop acting, you know, because they don't want it anymore or something happened or things like that. And you know, whenever I will hear someone who has a dream to leave it, I get angry because I'm like, I mean, come on, I mean, I mean, if you are in that road, keep doing it. You know, don't leave it behind. So that was kind of the idea. Like the second step would be like creating that, and I will see what happens. So
What country are you going to?
to Canada,
Yeah!
yeah.
What are you gonna be?
So my first option was, so I had three options, right?
Yeah,
Three ideas was Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver, of course.
yeah.
Then I bought the ticket to Toronto, but what I'm gonna do is that I'll be in Toronto for a couple of days, and then I'll be moving to Vancouver or Calgary, like between those two. Because recently a friend of mine lived there, live in Toronto, and was telling me that it's amazing, it's really cool. But the problem is that lately it's like everything there is getting like more expensive, and also like the cost of living it's way crazy. So what ended up happening is that a few people are moving to different cities around Canada. So I was like, interesting. And because I will basically go there with with a couple of bags and starting from zero, I was like, okay, so I'll go to Toronto for a couple of days, scope things out, do some things here and there, and then I will try to Vancouver and see what happens. So
If you're focused on cost of living, Calgary is gonna be the place to be. Because Vancouver Vancouver's the same. It's really expensive.
okay, then
Yeah.
Calgary, I think it will be the place. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, at the
That's
end of
where
the
I'm
day,
from.
that's awesome. I mean, like at the end of the day, what I say is that I want to follow something that I love. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, I would say that it was kind of the whole learning process. But my 20s were basically on following somebody else's path. You know, on the typical
Uh,
go to college, find like a typical office job, 9 to 5, stay there for the rest of your life. Like that was kind of the path that I was following. But then later on, things started to, yeah, like things were not connecting in my head. For example, this idea that you will stay in this company for the rest of your life, then one day you will retire and you will live forever happily with money and things like that. But I was questioning myself, like, okay, I mean that's fine, but what about my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? Like, what about, I mean, those times, am I going to be able to just stay there for the rest of my life and only be alive for the weekends only? That's crazy. And no wonder why so many people actually commit suicide because it is depressing. So that idea and everything create, of course, later on chat with Dan. But then when I turned 30, recently on July, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done following somebody else's path. I'm done following this classic routine, which it is not class and it is not safe. Nothing is safe in this world for sure. So why not trying something different? Why not actually take a risk and do and go to another country? From zero basically, and actually build something there. And with the platform that I've been working on, I want to, I mean, kind of use it as well to so I can like expand more, things like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, we only have one life, right? And I have like this idea that why not that when I reach my 60s, 70s, or 80s, be like, screw it, I did what I wanted, how I wanted, I enjoyed it. Now I can say that I want to just chill and or keep working on it, but at least on something that I truly believe instead of something that they pretend that they make me want to believe, but at the end of the day, is not true. So
So I told you, I'm like, you're like, how's your day? I'm like, I'm sitting on a couch chatting with you, and this is my job. Like, I'm not in, like, I have no desire to be in an office at all. Like, I get to make believe for a living. Like, it's nuts.
yeah.
I'm so glad that you got off someone else's path and that you are chasing your dreams. I believe in you. Don't stop. You got this. And when you come to Vancouver, message me and we will get together.
Sounds like a plan. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, as I said, I mean, I understand it. And also, like, during this whole experience of working on an office job, I once met someone that we were talking about, what makes us happy, things like that. And then he was telling me that he was actually happy, that he really found success. So I was like, interesting, okay. and and then I met somebody else who was thinking like the same idea that having like that job was happy for them, and I was like, that's fantastic, good for you, but to me it's not. So I'm not gonna be, so why I should follow somebody else or do that kind of routine when at some point I'm gonna be miserable. And I mean, and we all have that uncle, aunt, whatever, like that family member who is elder, and at some point will be telling us, if I was your age, I would have done this, or I wish I could be this age, or I could have done that, and things like that got me thinking, like, why not, instead of thinking about that in the future, why not preventing that by doing it in your present, so then later on you can say, I did this, did that, did this, I'm fine,
Also, something really special about this world is that two things. One, now we're in a place where, you know, the job market has opened up to be more creative. So
yeah,
there's tons of more creative jobs. And two, not everyone wants to do the same thing. Not
absolutely,
everyone, you said you don't want to be an actor. Not everyone wants to be an actor. My best friend is a psychologist. My sister designs control rooms, and both of them love their jobs. There's so many people who will really love being a doctor and
totally.
really love being a lawyer. But if that's not your path and that's not what you want to do, there's a plethora of options for you that you can do. And we have every opportunity to do that now, which is
Yeah.
we're so blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end, do what makes you happy, regardless of what it is, because I do think that because of this idea they sell us, that in order for you to be successful, you need to have this huge mansion, 20 cars, two yachts, a jet, things like that. And due to that, now you have a full generation who feel stressed and depressed because they think they sold this. I mean, they bought this idea, in which later on, once they discover, then they will start to think about all the time they wasted on something that it was not the right one. So
You can just take me for an example, like I'm not an A-list actor. A lot of people who are going to watch this won't know me. Follow me, guys, love ya. But I make enough money to live in one of the best cities in the world.
there you go.
I feel successful. I'm doing what I love to do. I have a beautiful apartment in one of the best cities in the world, and that's success enough for me. Do I want more? Hell yes. Will I go for more? Hell yes. But right now, I'm happy and I am able to put a roof over my head and food in my belly doing what I love to do. So that's
There
all
you
that
go.
matters.
There you go. I mean, I will
Yeah.
drop this mic. Could you basically drop it? All of it, all of it. I also want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much for watching or listen to it. Since this episode is about to be over, make sure on the description below you're gonna see the link to Laura Instagram and YouTube channel, so you can check it out. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Laura. She's incredible. She's amazing. Also, thank you again. Make sure to spread this. Share this with
Like
friends
and
and family.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe. That helps a lot. Trust me. And again, Laura, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep being this incredible, amazing, badass super person you always are. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate you.
All right.